Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, with another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today, I have with us, she's the co-director, and she's also acting as one of the villains in a movie. Horror comedy is actually streamed on Amazon, Apple TV, Tubi, wherever you get your movies, and it's called Hanky Panky. I have with us Lindsay Hahn. Lindsay, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on.
No, that's so sweet.
Tell us a little bit about. I love this title, Hanky Panky.
Well, it's a live action movie about a sentient napkin or handkerchief, and who this is so weird. It's so weird always giving the explanation. Who gets sexual gratification out of cleaning up messes. So Hanky Panky seemed like an apt title.
So you and your husband both directed this movie. How did y'all come up with the idea?
Well, we did this very short film festival where we had to come up with a script and shoot and deliver a film in 48 hours. And it was just like a fun little competition thing. And they had you pick out of a hat different elements of the movie. And so we picked a prop, which was a handkerchief, and we ended up making it like the main character, and we got such a great response from our short, but also from our cast. You know, our cast had such amazing chemistry that we were like, well, maybe we should just utilize this and make this a bigger movie. And then also at the same time, I was working on like a very like straight ahead, like psychological horror movie to shoot in my dad's cabin, but I was taking forever to do it. And so Nick was like, okay, let's have a competition. I'm going to write Hanky Panky. You continue to write your movie, and whatever one gets done first, that's the one that we like balls to the wall shoot. And he finished the script faster, so he won.
Because I wanted to ask, because I can imagine it's tough. I've asked filmmakers who start with a short film concept and then you try to adapt it into a full length feature. I mean, that must be tough because you're now stretching something that's 5 to 20 minutes into an hour and a half.
Yeah, well, basically what we did was we used the short film is really basically just one scene. And so we just included that a little bit in a scene of our movie and used the characters as like a jumping off point and created a story around these characters that were crazily created over that like 48-hour no sleeping all creativity period, which were very zany, kooky. They worked together really well. Kind of characters that were annoyed with each other but trying to be polite, and the napkin was like doing the inner monologue basically of the character who he belonged to, and saying the things that nobody else was saying. And so we just sort of took that, and then I don't even know how the horror element, because the horror element was not in the short film. The short film is like kind of a meet cute. But then this horror element came in. Maybe it's because we were doing it at a cabin. I don't know, but it just sort of lent itself to that. And we did some improvs with the cast members, some improv days at our house. And that's when, like, my character wasn't originally in the short film, but then my character went from being this little thing to then developing into this, like, sort of weird Three's Company snow bunny creepo. And
that combination.
Yeah. And so they just, everything started to sort of come together and have a life of its own. And then Nick just really captured it all and put it on paper. And then, a movie gets written 3 times, right? It gets written with the writer, and then when you shoot it, and then when you edit it, so it's gone through a lot of different places to get to where it is now. The original cut was 3 hours.
So what are some disgusting things that Hanky Panky likes to clean up? Because this is a horror movie. So.
It's a horror movie, yeah. So, I mean, basically any time that there is a possible mess, if there's blood, loving that. you know. he but he and his human, I guess, have his owner have a very interesting father, lover, brother, weird relationship where, like, you know, if you have a personal handkerchief, that likes to clean up messes, there are lots of messes that personal handkerchief can clean up, and those things are just sort of left in like the joke area. Like those things aren't really shown, but they have this very like a meshed relationship. The story is that they like found each other when he was young, you know, when the human was young and lost his father, and so they like have this very bizarre, twisted relationship. And it's sort of learning how to both of them come into their own, but really the human having to come into his own through this weird like trans-dimensional alien battle that's happening. This is so crazy. It's so crazy every time I get onto a podcast and try to explain this movie. It's insane.
All right, see.
Insane. There's lots of blood, basically, is the answer.
Lots of blood? Okay. I was like thinking to myself, like there's a lot of nasty things that somebody could clean up. I'm like, well, how nasty are we getting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
not that nasty. Not
you
that.
Don't know what you don't even know what I'm thinking, Lindsay.
Well, now I'm thinking. Now I'm like, hanky panky too.
Yeah, no.
Really lean in,
especially with the title "Hanky Panky."
I
know. So, when you were making this movie, was it hard to stay serious?
Yeah. I mean, it was hilarious. There was this one scene that we tried to do in one take, and we just couldn't. Everybody was breaking every time. It just couldn't. Everybody was so like on that, like there's like an edge that you get when you're doing comedy and you're improvising and everything's really working. And we had to throw that scene out of the movie because we just couldn't nail it, and we were under such a time crunch because we were shooting in the winter in Utah, so we only had a little bit of light. We shot with mostly natural light, and our days were so short, and so it was just like, it's not working, we got to move on, we got to figure it out, you know. But it was really fun, and we were all friends, you know, when we went up there, so there was already a lot of history and already a lot of inside stuff, and so that was cool. It was really fun.
Now, they say that couples should not work together
They
because
do.
it can put a strain on your personal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like working on films with your husband?
It's actually pretty great. The most arguing that we do is during the writing process and during the editing process. But during shooting, we are like the cleanest, most like efficient team ever. The way that we were able to divide and conquer, and we had done, 2 or 3 other shorts before this. But we just, thankfully, our brains work really well together, and like picking up where the other one is left off and filling in the gaps and taking charge and then shifting that. And for some reason, we have some way of like mind melding that we really do distribute the tasks evenly. I had a little bit more of like the visual stuff, like that was a little bit more of my responsibility, like the visual elements and the tone and the acting, you know what I mean? And then Nick had more of like the technical nitty gritty stuff, and he would take on a producer role a lot. Like Nick is incredible. He's like such a ninja. He can do anything. And so, you know, we did this really great balancing act, and we had this rule that we didn't want more than one person talking to the actors per scene. Because I'm an actor, I've been in horror movies and things like that, and I have had I've worked with co-directors where they're both directing you separately and they're like whispering in your ear different directions, and it's maddening. It's totally crazy. So I was like, if we do this, if we co-direct this, which I thought was nuts and we'd never be able to actually accomplish, but I was like, if we do this, we need to decide, like, each time we go to sit down, we go like, okay, who's going to be the person talking to the actors for this scene, you know? And that really helped, I think, a lot as far as like not having conflicting things and not having our actors feel pulled, you know?
Yeah. Because I'm sitting here thinking as you were talking, I'm listening. I was like thinking stuff like, have I ever seen a handkerchief in a horror movie before, or a napkin or anything like wipe or blood? And I'm like, no, I have not. And because I've seen some campy shit before in horror, but I mean, you guys.
Thank you. I mean, this is about as camp as it gets. This is the campiest, cheesiest, silliest, dumbest thing you will ever see. What Nick says is it's a dumb movie for smart people, and I think, you know, that's probably true.
Because it's hard to stand out with a original creative idea, especially in indie horror right now. Because I mean, there's so many filmmakers out there, so many projects coming out, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But I can imagine as a filmmaker, it's like when you come out with a movie or an idea, you're like, wait a minute, shit, let me go and check to see if this has been done before.
Yeah. We didn't really have to check with this one.
No, I bet.
There was another movie. There's another movie called Hanky Panky with Gene Wilder, and it is nothing like our movie.
So you're like, yes.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because I was like, even thinking myself, like, you know, somebody asked me, like, Travis, what is a horror movie? If you could come up with an idea for a horror movie. And I always come up with this great story in my head, and then I go and Google it. I'm like, oh, damn, someone already did that. Like,
yeah, isn't that crazy?
And it's exactly the way I said this movie was going to be. Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're all, like, influenced by the same stuff, especially, I feel like, more and more and more now. Like, it used to be that we would, like, you know, go to our little local independent, you know, movie house or rental video house, but then it started to be Blockbuster, right? And then Blockbuster only had a few titles that were available to you, you know, so then we all started to get, like, brainwashed by the only art that was available to us. So it only really makes sense that we would all be kind of making very similar stories. I don't know, maybe the, you know, the internet and stuff and you know, the array of content and the array of things at our fingertips now, maybe we'll get more interesting things in the next generation of filmmakers. That would be cool.
I hope so. Yeah. Because, I mean, I've seen a lot of, and listen, I love the old stuff. I'm from an 80s kid, so I love the 80s horror slashers.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Hello.
But, yes, exactly. But, like, it becomes redundant when you see the same thing over and over again. And, like, it's always amazing when you see something original, new. You're like, well, damn, I did not see a Hanky Panky before. Like, what is this? I mean, like, I'm going to
just jump on your absurd idea and go with that one.
Yes. And by the way, I booked this interview. I think Mac Burns was the one who arranged this. By the way, shout out to Mac Burns. But I didn't even like doing the research before this interview. And so it was just like, what are we doing? Hanky Panky. I am 100% sure. Listen, so I had this on Tuesdays. I do Tubi Tuesday, where I just randomly go on Tubi. I go in the horror section and just find the wackiest shit. Like, I base off the poster. I don't read the description or anything. I don't watch the trailer. I pick the craziest looking fucking poster and title, and I watch it, and then I do a review of it. And I'm shocked that I have not ran across Hanky Panky. I mean, that sounds like right up my Tubi Tuesday alley.
I think the poster is this top hat on someone with blood coming down. So next time you see it, you can't really see the handkerchief on the poster is the most disappointing thing. Because Seth Green plays the top hat. So they really tried to bank on his stardom to get us catapulted into whatever.
See, I felt like, hold on, because I have a to-be watch list of things. Like I said, over time I just go through them like, this looks absolutely insane. Let me watch this. Hanky Panky might be on my watch list because I mean that sounds right up my alley. Especially you said Seth Green's in it. That sounds like I would rock with Hanky Panky.
It's very silly.
No, I don't have Hanky Panky. Okay. Listen, future
Now you
TV
do.
Tuesday on Hanky Panky. That's going to be.
That's why we're doing this, to get more people like you to watch it.
All right. So you act as well. So you've acted in horror. Now, by acting, do you think it helps you on the other side of the camera?
For sure. Oh my gosh, for sure. And I don't think that that's necessarily true for all actors. My style of acting isn't as like method. Like I think people who really work in like the method space, it would be very difficult for them to then adjust to being on the outside and being a director. But it's not a very well known technique, but it's called the impersonal actor, and that's how I was trained. And it's you think about acting as a little bit more from the outside. You connect with your emotions and all of those things, but you do see it more as a how does my piece fit into this entire puzzle? You know what I mean? What is the project demanding of the character that I'm playing? And that informs more of my performance. And so in some ways, I almost feel like the way that I was trained as an actor prepared me even more to be a director, because I've worked with directors where they've like almost been like disappointed that I can be so heady about it. Like I've had directors be like, "Stop thinking like a director. I need you to ask me questions like an actor." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. Like, where are we right now, though? I need to know how close we are, depending on my performance. Are we like super close up or wide? And so for me, the transition is actually really satisfying. It's really satisfying and lovely to get the opportunity to actually see it from the outside and actually help actors that obviously I love because I've cast them, you know what I mean? Yeah. Help them be their best, and draw out their instrument. That doesn't really make any sense, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like full performance out of them. It's nice. It's very cool.
But I totally understand what you mean. Not on that level, but like like every once in a while I'll go on to somebody ask me to come on guest on their YouTube channel, and I have to stop myself from taking over their channel because I'm like, oh, this is Travis, this is what I do, boom 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 boom, all eyes on me. But I'm like, no, this is not my fucking channel. I'm the guest, so like all eyes are on me, but I cannot control the tempo of the interview.
Yeah, I call it NMM. NMM. I say to myself, not my movie, not my movie, not my movie, not my movie.
Gotta slow it back. Pull it
back. Don't take over this production, not my movie.
All right. So, Lindsay, this is something I do once in a while with my guests. I'm going to ask you 3 random horror questions. This is your personal opinion, though.
Okay, I'm excited.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Which horror movie villain is your husband most like? And why?
The immediate thing that comes to mind, which I don't even know if this is true, but it's like Jack from The Shining. But I think that's mainly just because he's a writer. He's not actually abusive like that at all. But I feel like all he wants to do is be like held up in the snow somewhere where we are all isolated so that he can just write and lose his goddamn mind. So in that way, yeah, he is a little bit like Jack. But God, what? I can't even think beyond that. What would be a really good? God, that is a hard question. I think maybe I answered it as much as I could. I'll probably circle back and be like, actually.
Yes, he's more like Leatherface. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Second question: what is one horror movie that everybody loves, and you're like, it's okay?
Ooh, one horror movie that everybody loves, and I'm like, it's okay. Hereditary. Which is crazy because I like the beginning a lot. I like the setup. But then I kind of feel like it jumps the shark a little bit on some things, on some of the performances. Oh, this is so unlikable. So many people are going to be so mad at me for this. I which this is just like the worst thing to say. Everybody's gonna hate me because I love the swing. I love the swing of the movie, and I think that a lot of it is really great. And I think maybe because I should like it so much, like it feels like it's so written for exactly what I would like so written for me. And maybe that's the problem, is that like then I'm like, well, I could, you know what I mean? Like I know all about this or something. I don't know, but I just feel like in some ways they didn't go far enough. Like I would want it to go like, it's almost like even with Rosemary's Baby, I love Rosemary's Baby, but I wanted, you know, after Hail Satan, I wanted more. You know what I mean? Like yes. And I kind of feel like I just wanted a little bit more of like the why and the story, and even scarier, and like I don't know, but there was a lot of stuff that really, really, really worked. But I feel like it's so, because it was so interesting, and it chose this like different path that everybody feels like they have to just love it. They have to love it. It has to be great. And especially if you're like into any like womanly interesting topics or whatever, you know what I mean? Then like, anything witchcrafty, it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like you have to just like completely 100%, this is the greatest movie of all time. And I'm not saying that it's even less than 80% great. I'm just saying it's not 100% great. That's all I'm saying.
And I agree, and you're going to get shit because I get shit for saying the same thing. I think really? Midsommar is a way. Is both movies are made by Ari Aster. I think Midsommar is way better because Midsommar takes it onto that another fucking level, and it's so disturbing.
I completely agree with you.
I think Midsommar is a better movie,
and actually does stuff that's interesting. Like all the horror happens during the day, oh my god, you see so many things in that movie that you've never seen before.
And you're watching that movie because it's such a beautiful but disturbing movie. You're watching that movie the whole. I saw it in the theaters. Yeah, and I'm sitting there watching it like the whole entire time, just engaged. I zoned out a couple of times watching Hereditary. I'm gonna admit it. I actually zoned out a couple of times, and but Midsommar kept me engaged from beginning to end.
Yeah, I loved Midsommar. That was just it did all the right things. 100%. And I know that my husband would disagree with me. Like he wasn't so into Midsommar and was more into Hereditary. So
it's crazy. It's crazy because people who are into Hereditary hate Midsommar, and then people who are really into Midsommar are not that bigger fans of Hereditary. Yeah. Like you rarely meet someone who likes both of the movies, and they're literally made by the same filmmaker.
That's so true.
And it's odd. Most people are on one side or the other.
Yeah. Yes,
but no one likes Beau is Afraid. So,
so get that out of here.
Yes. All right. Final question.
Okay.
What final girl would you like to be best friends with?
What final girl would I like to be best friends with? Well, okay, Sigourney Weaver, like all the time, every day. Like Ridley is like the coolest character of all time. But I feel like she's not a true final girl. You know what I mean? Oh God. I don't know, because like a lot of them end up, I feel like, being bummers.
I feel like most of them got like PTSD or some kind of traumatic issues.
Exactly. Like Sydney from Scream. It's just like, God, she just is, wow. I don't know. You know, I mean, of course you'd reach out to her, you would love her, you know, but she wouldn't be the easiest person to be best friends with. Great final girl, super cool, but man, they end up just with so much crap on their back, you know. You just kind of like, I feel like every time you'd hang out with them, you'd be like, don't worry, that sound wasn't Mike Myers, you're fine, you know.
Yes.
Just my dog itching itself, like, chill out, bro.
By the way, that's the first time I ever asked that question. I'm sitting there like thinking to myself, what final girl like I can think of a final guy I would hang out. I would love to hang out with Ash Williams from Evil Dead. Like after
Yeah.
Bruce came out, I feel like
Oh,
he'll be
that's a
so much
great
fun.
answer.
He'll
Yeah.
be so much fun. But like Final Girl, I agree.
Final girls usually aren't written like charactery and interesting like that. Ash is
They
so
usually don't
interesting.
have great layers. They don't have layers to them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's a good point.
there's
Somebody got
no
to write
wise.
that.
I know a wise cracking Final
Yeah.
Girl, badass Final Girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Quirky, weird. Yeah. That would be
I'm
great.
trying to think of one. I can't think of one. All right,
Mm-mm.
Lindsay, listen. Where can everyone find you and you and your husband's projects?
Okay. Well, Hanky Panky is on Instagram and TikTok and all of that stuff. Hanky Panky movie. I am Lindsay Hahn on Instagram. That's pretty much the only thing that I use. It's LANDSEYHAUN. And we, yeah, I mean, I guess that's really the best way to do it. We have a, Happy Canyon Club is our production company. So we, I don't know, we have a website that you can see some of the old stuff through and a Vimeo page that you can see some of the old stuff through. But I think really just like keeping track of our various social media pages through Hanky Panky or through me, you'll find what we're doing.
And will there be a Hanky Panky too?
What? Say that again? About Hanky Panky
Yeah.
2?
Yes.
Yeah. Nick is writing it. I'll tell you that much. Nick is writing it. We're in lots of talks. We have a bunch of actors that would be in it that have agreed. So, we have verbal contracts.
Okay.
But I don't know. Well, we'll see. Nick is thinking we'd be able to shoot it pretty soon, and we're talking to financing people. I don't know. We'll see. It's so kooky. This movie is so crazy, and the second movie is going to be even more bonkers. I've read like the first half of the script, and I'm like, oh my god.
Well,
How are we going to do this?
Well, I'm looking forward to watching the first Hanky Panky, and everyone else should get over to Amazon, Apple, and Tubi, watch it, and also look out for my review.
Oh, thank you.
On Tubi Tuesday.
Thank you.
Lindsay, this was fun.
This was so fun. It was so nice talking to you, Travis.
I know. Thank you. You too. You too.
Yeah.
Tell Nick I said hi as well.
Yeah, I will.
Yes. And listen. And by the way, let's say a shout out to Matt Burns also. I think he's the one who arranged this interview.
Thank you.
Matt Burns is amazing when it comes to indie horror.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Lindsay Hahn.
Woo, woo, woo.
Hanky Panky. We'll see you next time. Take care.